Well, the Hong Kong chief executive warned this morning that the protests could be pushing the city into what she called an abyss. It was one of several messages Carrie Lam tried to put across to reporters.
The news conference was filled with several heated exchanges with what some see as an increasingly hostile media.
Initially, the flag came largely from protesters, condemning Carrie Lam's refusal to back down from the extradition bill. But as violence escalated over the past month, the media is seen taking an increasingly assertive stance at government news conferences.
行刑式嘅手段，冇底線嘅執法，仲有你將自己政治誤判諉過於人，死不認錯，發動咗文革式人民鬥人民嘅方法去挽救你自己垂死嘅政治生命。其實你幾時先至肯攞出你嘅政治承擔，去結束市民嘅恐懼？ 而家目前最大嘅要做嘅嘢就係結束市民恐懼。你幾時先至肯辭職？幾時先可以叫警方收手？
傳媒朋友提問都係要基於一啲事實。
The half-hour news conference was marked by frequent interruptions, with one particularly notable for a robust line of questioning by a Reuters reporter.
Do you have the autonomy or not to withdraw the extradition bill, please?
The second point I want to make.
Could you answer that specific question? In response to the various
demands that we have heard, we have considered all factors and came up with a response that we have rehearsed time and again over the last 2 months. Thank you very much.
Do you have the autonomy or not to withdraw the extradition bill?
Answer your question, please.
You have not answered the question. You've evaded the question.
Interruptions came one after another.
各位記者，請大家唔好喺行政長官回答。我諗市民都想聽到行政長官回答。亦都有其他記者想提問，我哋俾其他記者提問。
喺呢啲示威暴力嘅過程裏邊，受到不公平嘅對待。 俾人射盲眼嘅少女，同埋地鐵站受到催淚彈嘅市民道歉，你點樣回應呢啲市民對？請你俾個機會我答嚇。
Well, for more, we speak now with Frank Ching, a political commentator and adjunct associate professor at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. He joins us from our Hong Kong studio. Frank, thanks for joining us. First up, what do you think has been achieved from Mrs. Lam's news conference today, especially since she was interrupted so many times by what appears to be a very hostile media towards her?
Yes, I think that's clear. But then I think you will also notice that she was very evasive. Like when Reuters asked her the question, whether she had the authority, the autonomy to act, to withdraw the bill. She would not answer it. I asked it a few times, and she said, oh, I've been asked that many times. And he said, you've evaded it many times. So I think this is a serious problem, that she doesn't answer questions. And then the media, of course, is very pissed off.
And why do you think, then, that the airport authority is moving on to the airport authority and has allowed all the flights to be cancelled for a second day?
Well, I don't know that they allowed the flight to be cancelled. Did they have a choice? I wasn't at the airport, but I saw in the news that the departure hall was packed with protesters. You know, they were in every corner of the hall. And I saw a passenger trying to depart, to get on this flight, and he simply could not get to the counter. And then had to give up. So I don't know that the airport authority had a choice in the matter.
But isn't it the airport authority that said that, they might be able to handle the situation, and if they can't, and the police can, so why haven't they sought the help of the police in this instance? Because, we've heard so many instances of people trying to leave Hong Kong and not being allowed to do so.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
The question is, Hong Kong airport authorities yesterday said that they could manage the situation and that they will not call for the police to intervene. But right now, the situation seems to be getting a little bit out of hand if passengers cannot depart even for their flights out of Hong Kong.
I understand.
Yes.
I understand. Right. Yeah, I didn't realize that they had told the police that they didn't need the police and that they could handle it. Well, in view of that, I think that they failed to handle it in an appropriate fashion. The airport authority probably had no option but to allow the departures to be cancelled, given the situation. I don't think the protesters should have done what they did. They have the right to protest, but they don't have the right to impinge on other people's freedom to travel.
Frank, with the situation at the airport, now, how much damage do you think has been done to Hong Kong's reputation as a reliable air hub?
Well, I think some damage has been done. This is the second day. If it continues and the airport authority does not seem able to handle the situation, then it becomes a more serious problem. Right now, I think it can still be managed, but there's no question about it. Hong Kong's reputation is taking a hit.
Well, Mrs. Lam did say that the city is being also pushed into an abyss, taking a hit. Do you think China will eventually intervene, and will there be a tipping point?
I think that China is threatening to intervene, but I think it's very unlikely that they will intervene at this point. I think that they are focused on celebrating the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic of China on October 1st. And before that, I don't think they want any very bad publicity about PLA troops, say, coming to Hong Kong and putting the uprising in Hong Kong down. I don't think they want to do that. So I think that they want Hong Kong to manage its own problems. But if by October Hong Kong has not managed to do this, then China may take action. But I don't think anything will happen before that.
And how would you describe then the level of trust that we're seeing between the people of Hong Kong and their government based on the sort of increasing intensity of the protests and even the sort of their relationship with their chief executive, Carrie Lam?
Well, I think there was a survey taken of the level of support that Carrie Lam has within the Hong Kong population. The results were released today, and I think that it's dropped below 30%. And that's the lowest of any chief executive in the history of Hong Kong since 1997. So I would say that there is a very low level of trust in the chief executive, and I think that she herself is largely to blame. She has not done what I think any politician would have done to control the situation. She has simply been very stubborn, refused to withdraw the bill. From the very first day, the call was for her to withdraw the bill. She would not do it. She would just suspend it. And it remains suspended to this day and not withdrawn. And every sector of society has called on her to withdraw the bill, including the General Chambers of Commerce, the Bar Association, teachers. Virtually all of Hong Kong society has called on her to do this, and she refuses to. That is why Reuters today asked her, are you refusing because you don't have the authority to do it, because China won't let you? Are you refusing to do it because you won't do it? And she didn't give an answer.
And what's your take on her answer, if I can just ask you, Frank?
Well, I think, given that she has refused to do what seems obvious to anyone, I am increasingly of the view that she does not have the authority to do it. That China, in spite of saying that this was her idea, her initiative, they didn't issue any directives to her, I think China is telling her not to withdraw the bill.
Well, thank you for your opinion this evening. Frank Ching, the Adjunct Associate Professor at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology.